Welcome to another Simplicity of Logic. Today's topic will be the secret being logic and not positive thinking. Now, the secret is referring to secret of success or happiness or achieving anything in general. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm feeling it's a bad trend. You see, nowadays everybody thinks that by being all positive that you achieve goals and everything, but usually it ends up like a flame, it just fizzles. And I feel that by using logic, you can more likely than not, it's not as all inspiring like in the movies, like positive thinking, but it always more likely than not will get you to the end. Now, the reason for the title with The Secret is because of the book by Rhonda Byrne called The Secret, which I'm not read it, but basically the gist of the book is basically positive thinking, meaning you achieve it through positive thinking. Again, from knowing some people who read the book and all, let's just say that I don't believe that the ideas put forth really helps you compared to logic. But of course, let's always start with some positives of the other side. Positive thinking is not bad. The problem, I'll explain later, but I do agree that it does get you off your ass to do something, and it has its place. You need inspiration to start something, or like a hobby or a business. But if you go on that, like in a relationship, a honeymoon period only, we all know that fizzles out pretty fast. And of course, if you or whoever has made positive thinking work, I'm not putting the idea down. If it works for you, that's great. What I'm saying is for a utilitarian view, meaning for the mass audience, more likely than not, positive thinking itself is more of an impulse and probably would not achieve as much if the person started off logically. And also, if you use positive thinking to get off your ass to start something, most of the time the plan to get to the end, amazingly, is not the positive thinking, but really the logic of getting there. Like if you wanted to build a bridge, you get all inspired, but the parts of what to buy, the measurements and everything, that's all logic. So instead of just going on the fuel of positive thinking, why not from the start with logic? So with that, we're going to talk about the cons of positive thinking and the positives of logic. The most important con of positive thinking is that it's a logical one. The thing is, the reason why I felt that The Secret sold so well is because it makes people feel unique. In today's world, everybody feels like they're better than the next person. It's pretty obvious especially when you play cards. Everybody thinks they're the best. They're smarter, they're more logical than the next person, and by reading The Secret and thinking positive thinking, you get this ride on that adrenaline that I'm better, like I'm the next Steve Jobs, and I can go on that feeling. But unfortunately, that's not how logically civilization works, or even Darwinian theory. For someone to succeed, it's pretty clear most of the time someone else must fail. And if in a whole world of 6 billion people, if everybody succeeded, that means at the end of the day that level of success is normal. So there's no way everybody can succeed, so I feel it's very dangerous for what this new theory is setting up. For me, I accept I'm a normal person. I have my pros, I have my cons, and I accept that, and I achieve my goals which I can foresee I can achieve. I don't dream of the great dream, like like one person recently told me his goal is to be extremely rich. how do you get there? What do you do? No details were ever given. And I feel that's dangerous, because you keep dreaming, but that's all it is. It's a dream, and you keep thinking, I'm positive and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and you keep starting, and you have a goal, but you never have a middle, so you never achieve it. That's the biggest problem I have with positive thinking. Whereas if you started logically, you always knew you have a start. You have a reasonable goal, and you know how to fill in the middle. Another part is that it deludes people. It makes people blame the world, because you keep thinking, I read The Secret, I'm positive thinking, I have all these ideas, but yet I keep failing. And then what you do is that, because you think you're so unique, you're so special, and because you had this plan with a start and an end but no middle, you keep, when you don't reach the end, you don't blame yourself, you blame the world. Like people play cards, it's always, it's never they played that, it's always they're unlucky, they got bad beat, that's why they're not where they are. And I think that is just a trend that will always repeat, because you keep thinking, I read this award-winning book, or this idea, how can it fail? And so it's really like a drug. It makes you blame the world compared to yourself. So the solution, logic. Alright, it works very simply. Logic is based on details. Like, for example, the good comparison is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A lot of people read this book and started investing in property and everything, but failed in some way, because when Robert Kiyosaki was writing his book, it was based on the American property system, and a lot of people just willy-nilly read the book and just went blind into it, you see. So a logical person will read it and then apply his market to the book, you see what I mean? So it's based on detail, and that's why logic is better, because you do take into account from the start research that makes sense, rather than inspiration, which is basically you're charging in and you're just following a basic concept rather than a detailed concept. So to give the best example of how to use logic is pretty simple. It's from the base of Socrates, of Socraterian logic. You start with what is a base truth, such as the sun will rise, or like right now the earth is round, something that you can really say that this is the fixed truth, and then you work up from there. So in terms of your business or whatever, you start with something like, I have $10,000, and you work up from there, and you keep asking yourself questions based that if you can work back down to the base truth, that means it's achievable because it's true. You can logically fix yourself down to the base truth. And with Socraterian logic, there is no, in a way, lying in a sense, because let's say your goal was to be a billionaire and you have $1, and you said you want to do it in one day. If you're inspired, you just go do it, without thinking. But in a Socraterian logic, your base would be, I have $1. The goal at the end will be, I want to be a billionaire in one day. You can never fix to the top unless you probably are doing something illegal. So from the start, if you wanted to do it legally, so logically you wouldn't do it. You have to find another way. So in conclusion, a lot of the examples I give are exaggerated, but I'm hoping that they are examples. I don't want to go into a long tirade, so I'm going to give you vague examples, and I hope that it brings across the point. But I do hope that you understand and found this helpful, and hopefully from now on there will be much more logical decisions than just the positive thinking ones. And let's be honest, you're probably not as unique as you think you are. From then, till next word, thank you.